Mind is absolutely blown. This is definitely got to be one of the most epic, probably the most epic Christmas that I've ever experienced. I think many of you that have been subscribed to my channel for some time, you know that I love aviation, and space is a whole nother realm. I'm normally more into, aviation that is more close to home, shall we say. But yesterday, I had a very, very interesting experience, and I guess I'll walk you through what I experienced. So basically, I started off inside of the International Space Station, and then you could hear the people talking on the radio, telling you what to do, and you're supposed to grab this. It's like a thing that the mountain climbers use. That they use, I guess this is a safety clamp. Hey, what's going on, Lil Drills Reacts? Good to see you, man. So you grab the little safety clamp, and then there's like these little yellow, I don't know what you call it, like handlebars or something that you're supposed to clamp it to. And then they tell you to sort of pull yourself up. But before I even did, it's weightless, right? So there's things floating around in there, and I'm like knocking things around, sort of looking around, getting my bearings. Then they open the hatch, and then I basically pull myself out. It's kind of weird because you get out and you look and you can see the Earth so far, but always crashing. Click on the like button, guys. Appreciate it. So I pull myself out. I look down. I can see the Earth, and it's a weird feeling seeing the Earth, the entire Earth, and it being so small beneath you, and realizing how far up you are. And then you look to the left, and you just see blackness, and you look up and around, and it's just blackness, and you see the stars, and it's a little bit intimidating, to say the least. So the way you move around is you have to grab these handlebars. They're on the inside of the station, on the outside, and you pull yourself along. But I think one of the scariest things is they put you on this some kind of crane or something that I guess is how you move around, because you're in space, you can't just walk. So you clamp onto the safety clamp, and then you're supposed to just like pull yourself out. And that's crazy. Fast and Fearless, good to see you. Hello from Ireland. Hope you had a happy Christmas. I did. But I think a really scary thing is when I guess there was some debris or something that was flying around, and it actually, because I was supposed to take a picture of something, and then the camera flew out the platform that I was on, and I got separated, and then I'm spinning around in circles, and that's very, very sort of disconcerting, because you're spinning around and around and around, and it's just like Earth, space, and and the thing is, you're in space, you can't do anything. Now, some may have already figured out by now, it's highly unlikely that I actually went to space. However, you may have also noticed that the details are very detailed, for lack of a better word. And that is because the experience that I had yesterday was extremely vivid and felt a lot like I actually went to space. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that I have now recently experienced one of the most amazing pieces of technology, absolutely amazing. I am not a person that fear is a very common emotion for me. I don't have many situations where I have fear. When I talk about fear, I mean real fear where your heart is racing. But I had a lot of fear recently, like yesterday doing that spacewalk or whatever you want to call it. And I would say 8 years ago, there was sort of a life and death situation that happened. So life and death, actual life and death. So that was something that got me fearful. But the thing that's been getting me fearful at the same time very excited and amazed and mind blown, and that led me to my experience in this experience in space yesterday was the Oculus Rift. I would say 4 months ago experienced virtual reality with a family member on their phone with I guess Google Gear, and it was cool. I was like, this is kind of cool. I hadn't been paying attention, so I didn't realize how far along things had gotten. Like, this is interesting, and I thought, maybe I should look more into this stuff. And there was one simulation that he put me in, and I did briefly had that fear of like heights, and I was like, whoa. Now I'm not a guy who would watch I'm not a guy who would, what do you call it, who would get afraid of movies and things like that. I don't watch horror movies and get afraid and have nightmares. I don't have that kind of reaction. But I did have that fear of heights with this simulation. Now, fast forward to recently, I purchased the Oculus Rift, and wow. It's supposed to be like a scary thing, and I was on top of a skyscraper, and a giant robot was attacking, and he put me on a, what do you call it, a platform, very small platform. So I'm dangling from this platform while this robot is knocking this building and shaking this building. And by the way, I'm not a gamer. I used to be a gamer as much younger person. I stopped gaming probably in my mid-20s to late 20s maybe. So that's not really has been my thing. I'm just too busy. Not that I don't like gaming anymore. Just don't have for it. One moment. So, not really into gaming, but I got this Oculus. Actually, I should start at the beginning. Why did I get it? I got the Oculus Rift because I'm getting back into getting fit and exercising and things like that. I was looking for a platform that I could use to motivate me. I go to the gym a lot, that's fine, but I want other things to do to keep myself in shape. I was looking at the old, the Wii, and you have I forgot what it's called, the Xbox thing, Kinect. And then I wanted to see what's currently out there, and I started finding articles about that you can burn a lot of calories and do a lot of stuff physically with virtual reality. I was like, wow, really? So I started going down that rabbit hole, investigating platform for fitness, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. And I heard about some of the games that they say you burn a lot of calories and are very, very beneficial. So that's what got me into it. I did the research. I was looking at the HTC Vive, and I was looking at the Oculus Rift. I was really struggling to decide which one I should get between the two. And I was really looking to get the Vive. Vive is a little bit of a higher end platform. It is it's a little bit more immersive. It's supposed to be more accurate. You have a bigger space that you can work in terms of how it works with the sensors and everything. It's a little bit more expensive, but I'm not worried about the money, so I was going to get that. But then at the last minute, I started looking at a couple of factors. You know, Oculus is, I guess, owned by Facebook. Facebook has deep pockets. They've been investing into this thing a lot. I hear it's more comfortable, it's smaller, more refined in terms of the Vive looks more sort of prototype-ish type of thing. A lot of those factors, and I considered availability of software and all this kind of stuff, and I said, you know what, let me go to the Oculus Rift. So I got that, set it up, mind blown. And I'll talk about how you set it up. I can run through the basics. Consider the Oculus Rift to be a game console. Consider it to be a game console. Consider the goggles that you use with it to be the screen. So it's a game console that comes with its own screen, the screen being the goggles. So you plug in the goggles to your computer. So you put your software on your computer, right? Because your computer is where everything runs from. That's your processing, right? So the software is on your computer, you're online, right? And everything outputs to the goggles. Actually, that's inaccurate. When I think about it, you shouldn't think of it as a game console. You should really just consider it to be a display, right? Because all the software and hardware and the muscle, well, most of it is your computer, right? It's your graphics card, your CPU, your memory, your storage. It's all on your computer. So it's not a console, it's computer based. All you're getting with the goggles is that's your display, right? You're plugging it in via an HDMI cable. You connect it to your computer via USB cable. You connect your sensors. You have 2 sensors you put in your room, and you connect those via USB. So you need 3 USB ports, 2 USB 3 and 1 USB 2. I don't know why you have to have different versions of USB, whatever. So 2 USB 3, 1 USB 2. Those are for the sensors and for the goggles. So the goggles connected to USB, both sensors connected to USB. The sensors are how you are being able to track your motions and things like that. That's what the sensors do, and that's why it's required. And that's pretty much it. You've got the software running on the computer. It displays the image through HDMI cable into your goggles, and you interact with your environment via the sensors seeing your positions, and also you have 2 controllers that you use. You have controllers on both hands with buttons and joysticks, dual joysticks on both of them. And you have triggers on the front, the side. And the immersion experience is extremely convincing. Like I said, in that simulation, when I was dangling from that building, I'm embarrassed to admit I was afraid. I actually considered, should I do this? I mean, I know that it's virtual, it's not even real, but my brain was so immersed in this environment that I was actually afraid to continue it. I actually considered bailing and saying, this is too much, let me just stop. Let me just stop doing this thing, because I knew they were gonna drop me. I mean, it's a scary thing. It's supposed to be scary. You're dangling from a platform. There's a giant robot shaking this building. The platform is creaking, and I'm looking down below. I'm still high up. And I'm like, they're gonna drop me, and I don't know how I feel about that. And surely enough, I toughed it out. I manned up, and I said, this is not real. It's not real. And I stayed on the platform, and then they dropped me, and that was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying, especially when you hit the ground and everything goes black. It's just mind blowing to think that something that virtual, and I know it's virtual. I know I'm wearing the goggles. I'm aware of this. I'm telling myself this is not real, but yet I wasn't able to fully disconnect. So much so that it was wow. And the thing about this is I can't share this with you guys. I mean, I can tell you about it, but that's one of the things that's a real drawback with virtual reality. I can't show it to you. I can't show it to you. There's no video that I can show you that would allow you to understand. The only way that I can demonstrate to you how cool virtual reality is you have to experience it yourself. You have to take my word for it. You have to look at my face and look at the excitement and the emotion, and hopefully that will translate, that you'll understand. And again, you got to qualify things. I'm not a person who gets emotional about scary movies and things like that, right? I've told you 2 times in my life in the last 10 years I've afraid where my heart is racing. I'm not saying I don't have any fear at all. I'm talking, your heart's racing type of thing. 2 times. Actually, not 2 times, because many times in virtual reality I've been afraid. The most afraid that I've been recently was that when they dropped me. That was really scary. So I did the spacewalk thing when, like I said, when I got disconnected and I was spinning around and around and around. It was, I felt a little bit of that hopelessness that you would feel if you're really in space, because you can't do anything in space. I can't touch anything. I can't stand up. You are helpless. There's nothing I can do. Rotating around. Luckily, I guess my suit had thrusters, so they told you how to operate it. So I was able to go to the station, but then it's tricky. You move a little bit too much to the left, and you can offshoot and miss the space station. But bottom line is that was scary. I played a game where it's kind of like a Mario Brother, that, and the whole time I can feel my muscles in my ankles for no reason at all. Because this is not even a game where you're moving around your body. You don't have to move in this game. You just use the joysticks like a normal game, and you are running and jumping and stuff like that. When I say running and jumping, I mean virtual, right? You can literally just stand there and be like this. But the sensation and the immersion had me feeling as if I was standing on a moving platform. I literally felt like I'm standing on a moving platform. So I can feel my ankles trying to compensate for the motion and steady myself, right? But there's no motion. There's no motion. It's all artificial. There's no motion. It's amazing. And the faster you run, the more you feel like, whew. Here's another example. You, man. Even though that sounds scary, sounds damn fun as well, but once the mind sees something, it's gonna make you actually think yep. Here's another thing. One of the most enjoyable things that I like in virtual reality with the Oculus Rift is Google Earth. That is how amazing it is. A map, and it's not a game. It's not like in VR. It's a game, and there's no objective. It's literally a map. If you've seen Google Earth, you guys know Google Maps, right? But Google Earth, for those of you who don't know, is like a 3D map program. So just think of Google Maps in 3D. So you could use it on your computer. You could download it right now. It's free, and you can. Earth is like a 3D ball. You can spin it around. You can zoom in, satellite maps, and all that kind of stuff. Put that in virtual reality, and it's one of the most exciting things, most enjoyable things. It made me smile many times. Yesterday, I went to Tokyo, and then I was flying through New York City. The other day, I was flying through familiar streets in Beverly Hills. I flew over to Miami, and I went to South Beach. I went to, again, familiar places like Star Island and things like that. And I'm smiling. I went to, if you guys remember when I was on the yacht, that area where I went to it. I went across the bridge. I saw where the mall is, where Best Buy is. I was like, yeah, I know this. And then I went down to where the yachts are. And then I went flying down the water. I went to the Grand Canyon and went to the top of one of those mountains. And it was scary. I had that fear of heights. It's all virtual, but I had the fear of heights. Then I went to some beautiful sunset in the mountains. I was in the mountains, and I'm looking at the sun. You turn your head around, all along, looking at the sky, looking at. I stooped down in the real house, right, and put my goggles to where it touched my actual floor, and by doing so, I could see the details of the virtual floor. That's the thing that's amazing about it. Like, if I'm in a virtual environment where this table is here, I can literally, in the real world, move my head and look underneath the table, look around the computer, look under things. It's just... All right, so I'll talk more about this in more details. And right now I'm just trying to share my experiences with you guys and let you know how amazing this thing is. So amazing, should you get it? Right now, I think we're looking at second generation VR right now. I will say the technology is mature enough that, again, like I told you my experiences, it's an amazing thing. It's very enjoyable. There's massive amounts of potential for this. I can work in VR I can literally work, I can do all of my work in the computer. So literally, you can take phone calls, you can, whatever you need to do. If you work on your computer, you could do it in a virtual world. So you could be at the beach, you could be anywhere in the world using these apps. And so the technology is there in terms of its capability. What is missing is content. There's a lot of content, but a lot of it is experimental. A lot of it is demo, show off type of thing. Like, ooh, look what this technology can do. Like, you have a bunch of Disney short movies, like 3-minute movies. So I would call them experiences. There's lots of experiences. A lot of people trying to cash in, so they have their like, oh, I got this game and that game. I think a lot of them are not good. There's good stuff out there. There's a good amount of good stuff out there, but there isn't a ton of content. Like, for example, my initial goal was exercise. I don't see any exercise apps. These games can actually be a workout. I checked my heart rate after playing a game yesterday, 109 beats per minute. Is it per minute or per second? I think it's per minute, not per second. That would be crazy. It was 109 beats per second. But anyway, yeah, so that was a pretty, and that's not crazy, but I only did it for a short while, and due to the limitations of my setup right now, I can't get too crazy in there, but I could easily see my heart rate getting much higher than that. But 109 beats per minute, I think is pretty significant considering I'm just playing a virtual simulation. But basically, there's a simulation where you listen to music, and then it's called Audio Shield, I think. Anyway, you listen to music, and there's these colored objects or balls coming at you, and they at you at the beat. So let's say there's a drum beat, and it's, on the boom, there could actually be 2 balls back to back. So you're hitting them. So you're hitting them on the beat. So it's like boom, boom. But the thing is, there's different colors. There's red balls and there's blue balls. You have a red shield on the right hand and a blue shield on the left hand. You're supposed to hit red balls with the red shield, blue balls with the blue shield. They mix them up, of course. So you're standing there and you're like boom, 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 and they're up here and they're down here, and you're actually doing this. This is not virtual. You're physically doing this, interacting with this virtual simulation. You have guys coming from behind you, so you're spinning around and you're doing this way and you're ducking. Woo! All right, guys, I gotta go to work. I got stuff to do, but I really wanted to share this with you. Hopefully you enjoyed me sharing my experiences. I'll give you all the details that you need to know. If you're considering investing in virtual reality, I will tell you one thing: you need a lot of space, you need a lot of horsepower, and you need to spend at least $404 for the Oculus Rift. But again, that doesn't include that your computer probably is not powerful enough. Quick detail: my beast of a machine, 16 gigs of RAM. I think it's a NVIDIA GTX 680. Yeah, GTX 680 card, 16 gigs of RAM, Intel i7, 3.5 is the clock speed. I forgot the rest of the specs, but it's pretty beefed up, solid state drive. I don't meet the minimum requirements for VR. I get away with it because my machine is so powerful, but my graphics card is too old. But the fast processor, the memory, solid state, everything put together, I'm actually able to pull it off. So for most people, you're gonna have to buy a computer because already my computer is way faster than the average computer. So if I'm not meeting the specs, average person is not meeting the specs. For the goggles, you get the goggles, 2 sensors, and two controllers, 5 or 6 free games. There's lots of free games online as well. You're gonna have to buy a computer, and you need a large living room. Luckily for me, I have a massive living room, but even with the massive living room, I had to rearrange furniture to make more space because you need a dedicated space. You can't have like a coffee table in the middle. So you could be like, oh, I have a big living room, but if you have a coffee table in the middle, you can't, because when you're wearing goggles, you can't see anything except the virtual world. So you're gonna run into things, right? So you need a space where there's nothing to trip over, nothing to run into, and it needs to be sizable. Now there's a way around that. You can sacrifice the virtual environment of where you can walk around and spinning around and things that are in a mode where you stand or sit. Anyway, I'll talk more about it in the future. Gotta pay the bills. Gotta get to work. I got a lot of stuff on my plate. So obviously there's gonna be more coming because I'm absolutely thrilled with this experience and technology, and I'm gonna be talking a lot about it. Christopher Carter, I'll hit you up on Instagram. Christopher Carter is hitting me up on Instagram, and so should you. Carlisle's Picks is my username on Instagram, so hit me up at Carlisle's Picks. Also Twitter as well, I am there. Speaking of investing, Chris Carter has a question about Bitcoin. All right, guys, and I am technically in that business, so I may have some things to say about that. Anyway, we'll leave that for a future episode. Click on that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and current subscribers, new subscribers, every one of you, click on the bell icon. YouTube is not notifying probably 95% of my subscribers when I post videos. So, if you subscribe, obviously you want to see the video, you gotta click on the bell. Click on the bell, activate notifications, otherwise, might as well not subscribe. Alright guys, on that note, I gotta go make that money. Boom.